Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to 168 Hours, your weekly roundup of the top local stories. I'm Abdullah Ahil, your host for the evening. Stay tuned. President Dr. Mohammad Muiz ratifies the Ninth Amendment to the Employment Act.
The amendment was passed by the Parliament at the fifth sitting of its first session for the year, held on Sunday, 8 March 2026. The primary purpose of the amendment is to strengthen termination procedures and review the quota fees legally mandated for recruiting expatriate workers. This includes establishing criteria for accepting certain parties from these fees while addressing implementation challenges and safeguarding the rights of both employers and employees. Key changes include a provision granting employees time off for childcare from the date of return from maternity leave until the child reaches 2 years of age. Under the existing law, employees are entitled to two 30-minute breaks during working hours each day to visit and care for their child without any deduction from salary until the child reaches the age of 1. The amendment now extends this entitlement until the child turns 2. While employees are already entitled to a 1-hour break during working hours, the time allocated for childcare is granted in addition to this existing break. The amendment also revises rules governing dismissal notices. Under the new provision, employees who have worked up to 1 year must be given 2 weeks' notice prior to termination. Under the current law, the 2-week notice period applies only to employees who have worked between 6 months and 1 year. In addition, the amendment grants the Cabinet the authority to provide exemptions from quota fees for hiring foreign workers in certain businesses. The measure is intended to support small and medium enterprises as well as newly established businesses. The amendment also designates International Labour Day as an official public holiday. The amendment has now come into effect following its ratification and publication in the Government Gazette.
The government advances a multi-million-dollar expansion of its mariculture sector, positioning it as a cornerstone of the national economy.
5 regions have been designated for operations, including Bodutilanummati, Ra, Mimu, and Ta atolls, alongside a lagoon near Maniafushi in Kafu atoll. To attract investment, authorities have introduced incentives that waive acquisition cost and grant a 3-year exemption on land rent, measures intended to rival established global mariculture hubs. Early investment have already begun capitalizing on these opportunities. Ahmad Shia, Minister of Fisheries and Ocean Resources, confirmed that $19.46 million is operational in Maniafushi, complemented by seaweed cultivation now reaching export stage. He forecast a steady influx of multi-million-dollar projects, underscoring the sector's potential to deliver significant economic dividends. Supplementary cultivation sites have been identified to expand community-based seaweed farming, reinforcing the government's vision of mariculture as a reliable source of local income. Grassroots participation is being supported through the mariculture scheme, which finances cage culture systems and aquaculture cages. The program will fund 200 cages, with loans ranging from $5,188 to $41,509, offering repayment terms of up to 6 years and a 6-month grace period. The initiative aims to dismantle barriers to entry and accelerate industry expansion. To sustain growth, the government has launched marine hatchery skills development programs in partnership with the Maldives Marine Research Institute, backed by the World Bank. These vocational efforts target youth training, ensuring a skilled workforce capable of managing advanced mariculture operations.
The Ministry of Fisheries and Ocean Resources says more than $1.16 million has been dispersed to fishing vessels so far under the Kandufalo Nafa loan scheme.
The financing program was introduced to support fishermen by providing easier access to funding, particularly for micro, small and medium enterprises (MSMEs) involved in reef fishing. According to the ministry, the loan scheme is administered through SME Digital and is being implemented in several phases based on the priorities of fishermen. Officials said loans have so far been issued for 47 approved applications with a total of $1,179,871.19 dispersed. Applications are currently open under the Kandufalu Nafa loan scheme, for the installation of refrigerated seawater RSW systems in reef fishing vessels. SME Digital said a total of $2,199,310.46 has been issued in loans to applicants through its programs. SME Digital has also introduced several new financing initiatives targeting MSMEs, including those in the fisheries sector. One such program is the Vessel Financing Scheme, launched last December, which focuses on providing financial assistance for marine vessels. The scheme is designed to support both new and existing businesses to build, purchase, or upgrade vessels. It also provides financing for engine installation as well as the repair and maintenance of vessels. SME Digital said the financing initiative is intended to ease financial pressures in sectors that depend on marine vessels, including tourism, fisheries, logistics, and cargo transportation.
The Ministry of Agriculture and Animal Welfare issues a formal reminder that the preservation of animal well-being is a collective social mandate following a troubling escalation in documented instances of cruelty and abandonment.
In a formal statement responding to an increase in public grievances, officials detailed a rise in reports of individuals inflicting deliberate harm, killing, and abandoning creatures without essential care. Recognizing animals as sentient beings, the ministry underscored that extending protection remains a strict humanitarian, religious, and legal obligation. To underpin these protections, the newly enacted Animal Welfare Act codifies fundamental rights in alignment with international standards, mandating that animals be legally free from hunger, thirst, fear, and psychological anxiety. These safeguards ensure animals face no physical discomfort or unnatural obstacles to their normal behavioral patterns. The ministry warned that robust punitive measures, including potential imprisonment, will be rigorously enforced. Under this framework, cruelty or the unsupervised abandonment of pets in public spaces constitutes a direct violation of the law. Financial consequences are calibrated to the severity of the offense. Individuals committing cruel acts face fines ranging from $324.27 to $3,242.74, while public abandonment incurs penalties between $324.27 and $648.54. Citing the Sunnah of the Holy Prophet, officials reaffirm that kindness towards animals is a paramount religious duty. The ministry urged citizens to report incidents without delay, vowing that the government will maintain unwavering resolve in executing these laws to protect fundamental animal rights.
President Dr. Mohammad Muiz formally extends his condolences to Prime Minister Tariq Rahman of Bangladesh following a catastrophic fire on the island of Nugura Alif Dal Atoll that claimed the lives of 5 Bangladeshi nationals and left several others in critical condition.
The fatal blaze erupted in the early hours of 13th March, tearing through an accommodation block housing foreign workers. The incident, characterized by the president as a dangerous and sorrowful tragedy, has prompted a high-level diplomatic response and a pledge for a comprehensive inquiry into the safety of worker housing. 8 individuals sustained injuries during the catastrophe, according to medical bulletins released by the Indira Gandhi Memorial Hospital. 5 victims were pronounced dead upon arrival at the facility, while 2 others remain in highly serious condition, currently dependent on respiratory support. There has been no change in the status of the 2 patients on ventilators, hospital officials confirmed, noting that their clinical outlook remains grave. In a formal communique to Prime Minister Rahman, President Muiz expressed that he was profoundly saddened by the loss of life. The president offered his deepest sympathies to the bereaved families and the Bangladeshi citizenry, writing on behalf of the Maldivian government and its people. The Maldivian populace stands in steadfast solidarity with those confronting the multifaceted damages stemming from the tragedy, he declared, while also wishing a swift and full recovery for the survivors. Bangladeshi nationals occupy an integral role within the fabric of Maldivian society, the president's correspondence underscored, describing their contribution as truly invaluable. The people of the Maldives share deeply in the immense loss and grief caused by the event, President affirmed. In a move towards institutional accountability, the president has instructed relevant authorities to conduct a comprehensive investigation into the incident. The executive mandate is intended to ensure that such tragedies are not repeated, signaling a rigorous review of the circumstances surrounding the fire.
According to the Indian Ministry of Commerce and Industry, India and the Maldives executes the terms of reference for a comprehensive free trade agreement, codifying the foundational blueprint required to advance bilateral economic negotiations.
The milestone stems from an initial pact to commence trade deliberations formalized during a state visit by Prime Minister Narendra Modi to the Maldives last year. The core framework necessary to progress towards a finalized treaty has been successfully established, the Indian Commerce Ministry disclosed on the 16th of March. These terms of reference delineate the specific sectors and regulatory principles that will guide ongoing negotiations before a comprehensive accord is ratified. While the ministry confirmed the ultimate objective is the realization of a full-fledged free trade agreement, officials abstained from releasing technical specifications regarding the treaty's internal provisions. The primary objective of the accord is to establish a robust administrative framework designed to bolster commercial opportunities and fortify the bilateral economic alliance, the Ministry of Economic Development and Trade in Mal stated. The agreement will actively dismantle trade barriers and multiply investment prospects, the ministry asserted, thereby catalyzing a more sophisticated partnership between the two nations. An anticipated surge in cross-border commerce and foreign direct investment underpins the proposed treaty. The agreement will yield tangible benefits for citizens of both nations, providing enhanced convenience for Indian tourists in the Maldives and Maldivian expatriates residing in India, according to Maldivian trade officials. These measures are intended to allow individuals to execute commercial transactions and remit payments for goods and services seamlessly. Diplomatic negotiations will be bolstered by the integration of modernized trade facilitation measures, specifically the implementation of the United Payments Interface and the consolidation of the local currency settlement mechanism, the ministry highlighted. The advancement of the India-Maldives trade framework unfolds as the Maldives pursues a broader economic diversification strategy. The nation officially commenced the implementation of the separate free trade agreement with China in January 2025. The government has also expanded its commercial horizons by signing a preferential trade agreement with Turkey, an arrangement specifically designed to secure trade concessions on targeted commodities.
The Attorney General states that the government has followed the Constitution and relevant laws in all matters related to the Constitutional Amendment Bill to conduct two elections on the same day and the upcoming referendum.
The statement was issued to address misleading information circulating about the referendum process scheduled for 4th of April. The purpose of the 8th Amendment to the Constitution is to hold both the presidential and parliamentary elections on the same day and to shorten the current parliament's term by changing how its duration is calculated such that it starts from 1st December to enable holding both elections simultaneously. According to the Attorney General's office, the amendment contained in the bill fall within the category of constitutional changes which, under Article 262b of the Constitution, must be submitted to the public referendum prior to ratification by the President. If the amendment does not receive a majority approval in the public referendum, it will not be ratified. In the upcoming referendum, voters will be asked the question, do you approve the ratification of the 8th Amendment to the Constitution, which provides for the presidential and People's Majlis election to be held concurrently and for a change to the term of the People's Majlis. The Attorney General's office said the referendum question and process comply with legal requirements and maintained that all action so far regarding the amendment and the referendum has been constitutionally sound and lawful.
In a significant move toward a greener future, the government prepares to commission 11 megawatts or MW of solar PV systems across 7 islands, including Kuladufushi City.
According to the Ministry of Tourism and Environment, the project marks a pivotal step in the nation's strategy to increase renewable energy adoption and reduce its heavy reliance on imported fossil fuels. A primary objective is to drastically cut the dependence on diesel for electricity generation. The ministry said that this shift will not only diminish the environmental footprint of the island nation, but also bolster sustainable development and provide substantial economic benefits by reducing fuel import costs. The project is being implemented under a power purchase agreement and is currently in its final operational stages. Complementing the solar installations, crucial infrastructure upgrades are also underway, with separate engineering, procurement and construction (EPC) contracts facilitating electricity network enhancements and the installation of battery energy storage systems (BESS) on the islands. The work is contracted in Edafushi Ba Atoll, Hinnavaru Laviani Atoll, Tinadu City in Gaf Dalu Atoll, Formula City, and Huludu and Midu in Addu Atoll. The initiative forms a key part of the ministry's broader Aspire and Arise projects, which combine private and government investments. The ambitious overarching plan aims to deploy 43 MW of solar PV capacity coupled with 40 MW of battery storage across 21 islands. These efforts build upon the success of the government's Preparing Outer Islands for Sustainable Energy Development (POIST) program, which has already installed solar diesel battery hybrid systems in over 100 islands. The ultimate goal of these cumulative investments, according to the ministry, is to substantially contribute to President Dr. Mohammad Muiz's pledge to ensure that 33% of the country's electricity is generated from renewable sources by 2028.
The government revises the framework governing the development of 1,000 affordable housing units in Hurumale Phase 3, introducing a series of concessions for contractors. The updated policies have been published in the Government Gazette.
Under the revised rules, the previous requirements for contractors to submit proof of funds to cover the full project cost has been replaced with a letter of comfort from a financial institution indicating the total project value. Additional concessions include exemptions on import duties for construction materials related to the project. Changes have also been introduced to buyer insurance requirements, while new provisions allow greater flexibility for joint venture arrangements. The housing project will be divided into 5 packages of 200 units each. Under the new framework, a single company may be awarded up to 400 units. The policy is intended to encourage wider participation from local companies. Eligibility criteria require contractors to be fully Maldivian-owned entities, with all projects to be executed on a design and build basis. The government said the initiative is aimed at strengthening local private sector involvement while supporting business growth and capacity development. The housing unit will consist of 2-bedroom and 3-bedroom flats. 3-bedroom units will be priced at a maximum $149,000, while 2-bedroom units will be capped at $116,700. Following the revisions, the deadline for submission of proposal has been extended from 23rd March to 31st March.
SME Digital reveals that since its inception in 2019, it has provided critical financial assistance to more than 4,000 small and medium enterprises, or SMEs, across the Maldives.
As one of the most comprehensive SME financing institutions in the country, SME Digital has played a pivotal role in fostering entrepreneurship, boosting local economies, and driving inclusive growth. The institution began operations by offering financing of up to $324,254 per business and has since doubled its support, now enabling small enterprises to access loans of up to $648,508. This expanded capacity has been especially impactful in key economic areas, including tourism, fisheries, agriculture, and digital innovation. SME Digital has strategically tailored its financing products to meet the diverse needs of local entrepreneurs. Specialized financing programs have been launched to support startups, women-led businesses, and home-based enterprises, with a strong emphasis on promoting youth engagement and financial independence for women. The institution has also introduced concessionary financing for the acquisition of fishing, tourism, and cargo vessels, vital assets for local communities. In step with the rise in digital economy, SME Digital now funds content creators, photographers, and digital freelancers to purchase equipment and scale their services. With tourism serving as the backbone of the national economy, recent initiatives have focused on expanding guest house infrastructure, often tailored financing for both new construction and renovation projects. The impact of SME Digital's work extends beyond capital infusion. CEO Badruddin Hassan emphasized that the institution's support has enabled entrepreneurs to overcome expansion challenges, generate sustainable income, and elevate the overall contribution of SMEs to the national economy. Additionally, SME Digital has deepened its collaboration with government ministries to develop targeted schemes that empower vulnerable and underdeserved business communities. In a move towards ethical and inclusive financing, SME Digital has fully transitioned all of its services to comply with Islamic Sharia principles over the past 5 months, positioning itself as a leader in Islamic financing. The institution has begun converting previously issued conventional loans into Sharia-compliant alternatives, a process underway since October of last year.
President Dr. Mohammad Muiz expresses hope for the empowerment, dignity, and prosperity of Muslims worldwide in a message marking the festival of Eid al-Fitr.
In his address, the president said that this year's celebrations come at a time of deep distress for the global Muslim community. He highlighted ongoing suffering in Palestine and across parts of the Middle East, stating that the people of Maldives stand in solidarity with those affected. President Dr. Muiz also conveyed his wishes for peace and security for Muslims around the world. He emphasized that the true meaning of Eid lies in devotion to God, gratitude for blessings, and compassion towards others. The president urged citizens to use the occasion to strengthen both personal and communal harmony while upholding Islamic values in their celebrations. Reflecting on the holy month of Ramadan, he encouraged people to carry forward its lessons by speaking kindly, performing good deeds, and remaining patient and united. He also pointed to the 6 days of fasting observed in Shawwal, saying they serve as a reminder of the importance of continued faith and devotion beyond Ramadan. Concluding his message, President Dr. Mohammad Muiz prayed for the protection and the success of the global Muslim community while expressing hopes for a peaceful and prosperous year ahead for the Maldives.
The Maldives Zakat House announces that Zakat al-Fitr contributions for the 2026 Ramadan season reached a record $973,336, a milestone that represents the most substantial volume of offerings in the nation's recent history.
The entirety of the amassed funds has been disbursed to those on the National Registry of the Impoverished and Needy, the institution confirms, marking a significant achievement for the state's charitable framework. This year's figures represents a disciplined increase in charitable giving, surpassing $880,456 collected in 2025, $816,798 gathered in 2024, and $823,056 recorded in 2023. To facilitate this record participation, the administration utilized a multi-channel collection strategy that integrated an expansive suite of digital payment gateways. Citizens fulfilled their religious obligations through platforms including Diragu and Uridu applications, VML and the Maldives Islamic Bank alongside FahiPay, Awas App and Bandari Pay. These digital efforts were complemented by physical service desks established on 22nd February to allow for in-person cash and transactions. This distribution of funds achieved a historic precedent for the nation's social welfare system, the agency reports, with the allocation reaching $389 per capita, the largest equal per capita distributed of Fitr Zakat ever recorded in the country. A dedicated sum of $901,428 was explicitly directed to the impoverished and the needy, a group that notably included 62 orphans.
And that's all the news we have for this week's 168 Hours program. We will bring you any further updates in the next week.